of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, let's get started with roll call.
Mrs. Boyce?
Here.
Mr. Bova?
Here.
Mrs. Burns?
Here.
Mrs. Delaney?
Here.
Mrs. McBride?
Here.
Mrs. Mungo?
Here.
Mr. Ritter? Dr. Singh?
Yeah.
Mrs. Warning?
Here.
All right, thank you. So welcome to our study session meeting. Today's date is Monday, September the 23rd, 2024. We started with executive today at 5:30. We just finished up about 2 minutes ago. And we discussed legal and personnel. Thank you. All right. So do we have any presentations, comments from residents on agenda items? All right. Board member discussion. Discussion items. I think there was something.
The bowling. Yeah, the bowling. We received an email and some information. The bowling team, the bowling league, the Gateway School District gives them $1,000 toward their activities. And due to increased prices and them winning and having to travel, which is wonderful, they are asking for an additional $1,500. So the total that the Gateway School District is going to would be $2,500 for these students.
Could you check to see how that compares with the other activities that we have that aren't sanctioned
Sure.
sports?
We make a donation to hockey.
Correct.
It's $5,000 a year.
Correct.
And then we gave, what was it,
Robotics?
robotics. We donated like around $1,200 when they went to Texas, but they got a lot of money through the DCED grant. And then, was it Colorado Winter Grow? We donated like $1,500 last year.
Yeah, but that was to make up for the supplementals that
For
they
the
don't get.
supplementals, yes.
Because we weren't gonna add the supplemental at that time, so that
Right.
was gonna be shifted to supplementals for this year.
Do we know when they need this by? When does their season start?
Bowling.
Yeah.
It's at the winter, I think winter into the spring, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So is this something that we could add to the agenda for next week?
Yes, if you'd like.
Those are the only ones that we
Yes.
give more money to. Okay.
So there's a consensus to add it to the agenda for next week?
I would say yes. Yeah. Okay. So we add that to the agenda to vote on that for next week.
And they have not gotten any additional funding since this advisor has been part of the program for 7 years.
7 years, I believe it was,
Okay.
yeah.
7 years, so.
All right. All right, well, we'll vote on that for next week. Put that on the agenda.
Bowling alley, maybe.
What was that?
We could build a bowling alley, maybe.
No strings
It was
attached.
yeah, no, you know.
Yeah, no strings attached. Any other discussion items from the board? About the yearbook? Yeah.
We're gonna bring it up next week, yeah.
Okay, so I am part of the FTO over at Gateway Middle School, and historically, the FTO has worked with the students to do the Gateway Middle School yearbook. As we don't have experience with this, all just being parents, we spoke with administration over there and discussed giving it to the students to facilitate and handle and take the pictures, because that's what they do at the high school, and that will help them. There currently is not a supplemental for an advisor for that, and I would be asking that we look at the supplemental for a yearbook advisor so that the students at Gateway Middle School could start this experience on a smaller scale for going to the high school and being part of it there.
Do you know if there's anyone that is interested in being an advisor?
I have talked to administration. They did say that there were teachers previously that would help with this, and
Okay.
he feels that there would not be a problem filling this role. He said there would be a couple of people that would fill that role.
Okay. And kids that would be interested in assisting with that will be on that yearbook committee?
Yeah,
There are
yeah,
kids that
well,
are-
yes, 'cause-
Okay.
yeah. So, and then the FTO will no longer handle that. We still, the FTO still raises money for some of the funds for it, so that will not change, but the students will do it all.
I'm sorry, go ahead. So,
I was just gonna ask, Lizzie, did they have at Millside Middle, did they have a yearbook there?
They did, but again, it was ran by the FTO, and the students weren't involved with it, and then there were, from my
The teachers weren't either, but that.
they helped a little bit, but there wasn't, from my understanding, a designated person that was in charge of, and there was some issues getting that all the students didn't get yearbooks and stuff like that, and because FTO isn't in the building daily, this, and again, the high school does it this way, so this will be their stepping stone to.
And with the technology we have over there in the new building, I think it'd be a great idea if the kids are actively involved with that.
Yeah, and maybe get Forbes involved to see if they can help with printing, if Jack can liaise on that part.
Leslie, can you find out, because what the high school does is they send them off to trainings. Are we going to have the sponsor train them? Because there is extensive training that the high school students can go through
That
during the
wasn't,
summer.
yeah, that wasn't discussed at all, that,
I didn't know if you were aware that they.
no.
If we did this, I would probably have the sponsor talk to the high school sponsor and see if we could do it on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
Middle school, as opposed to what they do at the high school, because it's hard.
Because the high school is much more in depth, and I was wondering to what extent we were going to do it at the middle.
Yep.
I was gonna say, aren't there some middle schools that currently also have the yearbook that we could be in, conversing with on?
Yeah, and again, they've been doing it now for years, and it's free to ours, they don't charge, the FTO does sponsor, so it's not as intensive as that high school yearbook, it's not.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion items? All righty, so then I will pass it over to you, Dr. Rossi.
Financial reports, we just have a list of bills, Mike?
Dr. Rossi, financial reports, 4.1 list of bills, September of 2024.
Questions? All right, we do have 2 action items this evening. Ms. Jessel?
Thank you, Dr. Rossi. We have the hire of Miss Megan Bova, no relation to Mr. Jack Bova, for the supervisor of special education to be determined for an effective date and at salary as recommended. Additionally, we have Officer Albert Carson as school police officer effective October 1st per the SPO agreement.
So moved.
Second.
So we need a motion. I'll help Dennis here. So Val motion.
The answer is Val and Leslie always first and second. We just let them go. It makes, I think, everyone's life easier.
Any questions?
Andy's kind of sitting over there, so normally our voices go that way.
Any questions, comments? All right, do we need a roll call vote? Roll call vote.
Mrs. Boyce?
Aye.
Mr. Bova? Aye. Mrs. Burns?
Aye.
Mrs. Delaney?
Aye.
Mrs. McBride?
Aye.
Mrs. Mungo?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter is not here. With Dr. Singh?
Aye.
Mrs. Warren?
Aye.
There's John on there.
The ayes have it.
I was going to say, I don't see him once, so.
Okay.
All right, we have some personnel items. Ms. Jessel?
Absolutely. Thank you again, Dr. Rossi. We have 2 resignations as listed, 2 transfers as listed. 5 individuals for employment, 2 leaves, 9 salary adjustments in accordance with the CBA salary adjustment policy, 7 supplementals, 2 event workers, and 13 volunteers. Kudos to those PTO, FTO, who are promoting volunteers within the district. Kudos to all of you.
Now, maybe I don't understand this. Why are we getting resignations at the end of September for August 1st?
So we reviewed, this individual had submitted their resignation back in March and it slipped through the cracks. They formally resigned as of August 1. It was drawn out for reasons beyond our control. We were wondering if the resignation would or would not take place, and then we ultimately did not. We failed to put it on the August agenda. So we're trying to reconcile everything at this point, and that was the individual missing.
Including the transfers back from August?
No, so those are backdated as to, we were just made aware of someone filling the void because a bid went out and no one bid on it. So then what ended up happening was they had already been filling that void in occasional capacity, whereas an ongoing need until the bid was closed, and then we transferred that person directly to that position. So it is post-dated.
Okay.
Or predated.
Question on 6.6.7. Could that be, okay, we're saying we're approving the JHS Drama Theater Club. Can that be separate and then have the drama club and then appoint? Can we separate that so it doesn't look like it's all together?
Yep, not a problem.
So let me make sure I understand. So the supplemental is.
So the
individual,
supplemental,
but approving the clubs to be a separate item.
correct.
We did that on purpose, though, to put it together, so it's all one, but if you want to take it out, we can. Just to,
Well, the other ones we have showing what the
Yeah.
supplementals and who the person is.
okay.
So,
We can change that for next week.
okay. Because it looks like you're calling it the Mary Chase Theater Club.
It does.
Right. Okay. We'll reword that.
All right, thanks.
By the time she's done, we might name it
Oh, they're strong right here.
Any other questions for Andrea? All right, Dr. Chakey, we have administrative resolutions.
Thank you, Dr. Rossi. Item 7.1, Southwood Children's Behavior Healthcare Agreement. 7.2, NWEA On-Site Map Growth Training Session. 7.3, Child Accounting Conference. 7.4, AASA Mental Health and SEL Summit. 7.5, FACS Professional Development for Greater Works Christian School. 7.6, United Way's Inaugural Champion School District Initiative. Item 7.7, Clay Target League. Item 7.8, International Travel Program Proposal. Item 7.9, Plus Tutoring Program with CMU and Gateway Middle School. And 3 policies for review as listed for item 7.10.
Section, Mike?
Thanks, Dr. Rossi. Item 8.1, Hoff Skip and Drive for district. Item 8.2, Community Drug Abuse Prevention Grant Agreement. Item 8.3, a service agreement with Train. Item 8.4, sponsor agreement between YMCA of Greater Pittsburgh and Gateway School District. Item 8.5, Mobile Maine. Item 8.6, the Pasco Conference for myself, Troy McKinnon, and Andrew Jessup to attend March 11th to the 14th, 2024 in Hershey, PA.
It's probably 2025.
25, I'm sorry.
Just taking a guess.
Thank you. Item 8.7, district donations received for the 24-25 school year. Item 8.8, Gateway Middle School blind update. Item 8.9, Gateway Middle School locking mechanisms for exit devices. And item 8.10, Gateway Middle School change orders.
Dr. Chakey, the 7.10 policies were for review. Are those just all being reviewed due to code updates and laws?
Yeah, the new Title IX regulations as well,
Okay,
been updated within the policy.
okay, so that's not internal changes.
No, they're not internal changes, they're the recommendations from PSBA.
Okay. Thank you.
8.3, I'm going to ask the service agreement with Train. Is everything been updated and working with the air conditioning systems that were put in at Evergreen down at University Park?
We actually had a meeting today over at UP to go over the systems that are still not working. We still do have a couple rooms with glitches. We have determined a few of them, which are going to take a little bit of time to fix based on we got to bring lifts in and everything else to remove the outside panels, to make some adjustments to the equipment. As of today, there was only 2 rooms that were not running, one in each building. We got them both running today, and they're going to come back and start the work to solve the problems permanently.
Does the staff know how to adjust the temperatures?
The thermostat controls were sent to the principals.
Okay.
And Joe, the HVAC gentleman, went to the buildings and physically showed them how to use the thermostat.
Okay. So that they will be able to get heat when we need the heat?
Yes.
Just checking.
Yes, we did fire everything up both in the summer before we actually got them out of there when they first were activated. So we had them all done. We're going to check them again. The weather's not cold enough yet for the boilers to turn on, and we can jump them and jump them out, but we want to see the natural progression. So we're just waiting for it to cool off. Just sort of, I need below 50 degrees in the morning in order for it to run its natural cycle. We know that they work, but we want to make sure the full cycle is working.
All right, thank you.
You might as well stay up there.
We have other questions. So with that, I noticed it lists the school on the front page. CSC is not included in that agreement?
CSC should be absolutely included in that agreement.
Sites included does not list CSC.
I missed that. I will have that corrected.
And then it's the same, like, we're just replacing a prior service agreement. We have some new units, but this is the overall service agreement
The overall
for.
service agreement for the automation of the equipment.
Okay.
It was due actually at the end of June, and I asked them to hold off and keep us under the same agreement until the new units were all put in for the middle school and the 2 elementaries.
Okay.
I have a question about the mobile minis. That's for Evergreen.
For Evergreen, yes. We're waiting on the vendor still. Yeah, hopefully by Monday we'll have it. So these will be outside, hopefully in the back by the playground area. Won't take too much space off of the playground. We're hoping.
How many are we looking for?
These are flex units we're looking at, so we're looking at getting 2 flex units,
Okay.
which, hence the name, will give us some flexibility if we have to add, where we can take them away if we need.
Are they like the units that we had back here? Are they different?
They're a little different. They're not as big. They're flexible. This will be mostly for maybe an extra small group space. Right now, it's tight right now for faculty over there as well. So that would be our hope would be that we would use it for that, not a classroom just yet.
Are we considering, once they're put in, to have like a walkway overhead?
Yep. John's on that. Yeah.
We've already looked into
Okay,
the
just-
elevations, power, walkways.
Okay.
We looked into it all already.
Connector, yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
thanks.
The blind update, when do we anticipate those being done?
On the update, right now, we only have, I believe, three rooms that blinds were damaged when they came in and they had reordered them. They should be in any time now. We overwhelmed the manufacturer when we placed that order. And now on the blind, we include the blind update for?
That's what I think she's referring to, the interior.
Okay, they have not been ordered yet till the board approves them. It'll probably be 6 to 8 weeks before we'd actually receive them and then get them installed once we place the order.
6 to 8 weeks?
Yes.
Okay.
Mike, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor, please. With what we had put for our total for Gateway Middle for the renovations, could you give us an update what the total is that has been spent and in change orders?
Sure.
Okay, thanks.
Did you hit it big and you're going to pay it off?
I didn't tell anybody yet.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. It's not related to anything you were just discussing. Dr. Chakey, can you explain a little bit, because I was reading about Southwood Children's Behavioral Healthcare Agreement, about who Southwood Children's Behavioral is. Now, they're a hospital, correct?
Yeah, we utilize them for student placement as needed. It's just another option for students if they have to be placed.
Okay, and that placement comes through the pediatricians and the other doctors. How is the school involved with the placement as far as, like, these students would be placed based on a medical determination? How does that work?
It's really the team, the IEP team, so the school, the parents, sometimes also insurance plays a factor into these. So this is like one of those that we approve annually. It's just in case that it's needed, that it's available, it's already approved. If everything works out with the families, that this is another option for them.
Okay, because it looked like in there, we can provide instructional materials, but it also, they can have instructional materials too. So if our students were there, they would use what we have instead of what they provide.
Well, if it was, if they were staying there, yes, there'd be some, we'd want our curriculum, our materials.
Right,
Yeah.
because it looked
Yeah.
like there's
Yeah.
an option.
But some of that is determined on the placement of the child in Southwood.
Right, and I'm assuming you've worked with them. I just wondered how they were placed, because that looks like they usually have to have some kind of medical diagnosis. It's much more extensive. We couldn't just say a kid.
It takes a
It's
lot of
very
coordination.
extensive. That's why I wanted.
Yeah, and it takes a whole team of people, and then it takes another team of people outside the people that said yes. There's another team of people that evaluate it before it even goes there.
Well, I would assume with insurances.
That's even before it goes there.
Yeah. Okay, I was just curious.
Can we also just kind of break down 7.8 for our people who are listening to the meeting? So they understand this is a third-party organization that is looking to do this, not us as a district putting together a program.
So our decision for next week is if we want this to be a school-sponsored event or not. And so it's the International Travel Program. We made a proposal to go to Greece. And so if it's something the district wants to kind of support, we would help support getting the word out, chaperones. If not, we just leave it up to the tour company and they would handle it, and the school would not be involved.
Yeah, I just didn't want the public to think that this is some
Right.
program we're starting up and we're doing
Yeah.
international
No.
travel now. This is through a third-party company that already has a program
Yep,
established.
they work with some other local schools, some neighboring schools, matter of fact. So it's not new. It's something that's been around locally.
Okay, we'll be voting on that next week. And I think we satisfied some discussion around the Clay Target League 7.7. There were some questions about insurance.
Yeah, so you know, we've checked with our carrier, they know we're going to be involved in this to the extent of sponsoring in some fashion. They will not be shooting on campus anywhere. We've also required them to put us on their insurance as an additional insured. So we've got it covered, I think, two ways, our insurance and their insurance. And once again, you're not going to be sponsoring any of these events. They're going to be done off campus as a club.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that for the public.
And I got the impression that we were just talking about bowling and all those things and asking families. Since it's a club, they're going to, if I remember them being here making the presentation, they're going to fund all of this. And
Right.
we're not
You're not
involved in
spending
a
any money.
financial way at all.
Good point. So you know, Gateway School District is not spending a cent on this.
Should we add some of that in the content in here?
Excuse me, Robin, this is John Ritter. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I wanted to vote aye in the previous votes, but I didn't have a microphone button on my Zoom, so I had to dial back in order to get the microphone button. So I voted in favor of those, okay?
Okay, thank you, John. All right. Any other questions on 7 and 8? Education and business. All right. So do we have any board member resolutions? All right, comments from residents on non-agenda items? Anybody? Okay, nope.
Can I ask a non-agenda item question? There's been some,
If they're not there.
there's been some lag from my understanding, and actually I've seen it based on when a bus is broken down or is running late and parents getting that communication. Has that been rectified? Like, I noticed in my emails, a bus was going to be late at 4:02 and I got it at 6:03.
Yes,
Okay.
some of that Michael could maybe address as well, but we have to make it clear to parents, if they get the daily digest, what happens is that email goes out when the parents want it to go out. The buildings need to override that, and that should have been corrected.
Okay. Okay. So that's taken care of now. So they should get a more push notification in real time
Right now, it
versus.
should literally take, once we find out, it should be out in 5 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
But I would also say, if your kid has a cell phone on the bus, you're still gonna know before that 5 minutes
Right,
transpires.
Right.
Well, yeah, it
So let's
wasn't
be
necessarily
realistic in how fast you know. The kid is probably calling or texting you faster than it is even in the 5 minute speed of light moment.
It wasn't even that though. If you
Yeah, I did see.
look,
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
I think too, because there's been a lot of discussion about the bus being late. We have an extreme amount of road construction in Maryville. And one of the buses, I was waiting, I had the job of grandma was putting my granddaughter on the bus, and it was late. But the bus driver is never late. This is one of these people that you can watch, look at your watch. And it was road construction. And I think maybe that's one of the things we need to clarify, because he apologized when he opened up the thing and he said, and I saw what he was talking about because I had come that way. So I think right now, for some reason in Monroeville, this is just extensive. And it's impacting us. So I think parents have to realize it's more than just the bus driver. I felt badly for this bus driver. He was like, apologizing all over the place. And I knew what he was talking about because I had experienced the same thing.
Monroeville and Pitcairn, because, just this morning I'm driving by the old Get-Go and Giant Eagle, that whole intersection, you can't make it right there.
What they're doing at
That's close
Ashley
too, by Ashley
Furniture.
Furniture, yeah, that's shut down.
Yeah, that's a mess. And the other thing too, and Robin, you were involved with this, the police and stuff, those lights, the way, when you go to turn left, they're totally out of sync. You go through like 5 cycles before, that's also become a real.
The smart lights?
Yeah, they're just a night. Is that what you call them? Because they don't act like they're too smart. But that's also an issue, if there's some way that, because those poor buses,
We were having trouble out here, actually, and I think Mike reached out to them. Well, I'll follow up again.
Yeah, but I feel badly for the kids that are crossing the highway because they really get stuck in that situation.
And that's, Cheryl bringing up the traffic, and I know this is down the road, but it's gonna be here before we know it. What type of impact have we started looking at, the impact that we're going to have as a district with them shutting down the Parkway East?
Oh, yeah.
Not only with employees who are coming from that side of the county to get to work, and students that we are responsible for transporting to other locations.
You mean
It's
the big construction of
the big
2026?
construction that's gonna,
July.
huh?
It's July 2026, when they do the bridge.
Yeah, but it'll be here before we know
I
it.
thought it was March that they
No.
were shutting that down.
No, it's just supposed to be for like 20-some days in the month of July.
Oh, it's only for 20-some days?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're gonna build, they're gonna build the bridge next to the
It already
old
started.
bridge, and then they're gonna, the 20 days is to demolish the old one and then slide the new one in. But it's
Okay.
supposed to be July, that's why I take extra summer vacation.
Okay.
That's what they say in the articles, take extra summer vacation.
PennDOT would send us a letter. We haven't
Okay.
received anything yet.
All right.
You're right, though, it's, for private schools, there would probably be impacted, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully they keep it at 20 and it doesn't impact us, but August.
And I'm assuming that thing on Wall Avenue in Pitcairn is all resolved? Is that all okay? They were doing construction and they were worried about the bus. It's open now.
There's still some stuff that's gonna be happening, but it's open now.
It's not impacting the buses anymore. Okay.
Okay. All right, so, reports, administrative reports.
Mike up? Micah, can you advance the slide? Clicker's not working. Oh, there you go. Just want to give you a cell phone update. We started some internal discussions with administrators. And I know the high school had one planning meeting as well. Our plan is to send out an email to families on the 27th for an ad hoc committee or focus groups kind of moving forward. And so that'll be our next phase of where we are with that. Just wanted to, we had some conversation around transportation. Just want to make sure we provide the contact information. This is on the webpage. So there's an email that goes to 2 individuals. So either one should be able to get it and respond. There's also 2 phone numbers listed there too. So there's the main line, but there's also an alternative.
Is that a cell phone or?
No, those are direct numbers here.
So when should a parent call the district transportation number versus call the bus garage?
If there's like bus stop issues, those types of things, they can call that phone number, the 5728 or 5729. What we like about the STA, they're there early in the morning, probably like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, but they're also there like until 5:30. So if anything after hours, like 4:15, 4:20 or so, I would call the STA number because they have a dispatch down there. Okay. But generally speaking, for bus stop, my bus is late. We want to know that so we can follow up with STA. Bus issues, other types of bus issues, any behavior issues or any other things like that could be handled at the building level. So,
When you say bus stop and who to deal with, one of the problems is people don't understand when that school bus stops, so do they. And they don't understand stop signs. And there are things in this, like College Park is a nightmare. People think it's a racetrack. And I don't know, Monroeville's been contacted, I don't know what more to do to make people understand when you see that bus flashing and that arm goes out and that bus is stopping, kids are crossing, somebody's going to get killed one of these days. And I don't know how that you fix it. The parents have complained. Should they talk? Who should they talk to?
that would be Monroeville Police.
They talk to Monroeville and it doesn't get resolved.
That's a police issue.
They have talked to the police. And they've shown pictures. So I don't know what more we can do.
We plan on actually doing a bus safety campaign here in October. That kind of just sends out reminders about when to stop, the danger zone for kids and those sorts of things. But we'd also like to involve the railroad and Pitts Care PD.
I think you do, because, I mean, parents now have cell phones and they catch these people. And as the people go through, they click the picture of the license plate number, which is really stupid. The irony is a lot of these people have kids in the car, and you would think, but it's happened nonstop. So, but if you're having that and you include them, there should be some emphasis that they need to really, some of the spots they've been warned multiple times that there's a problem. And I mean, I don't understand why people don't understand STOP, but they don't stop. So if we could just emphasize that a little more as we start the school year out, that would be great.
I just want to congratulate Gateway High School Marching Band on Saturday. I think you all got an email. They competed at Norwin High School for the Music for All affiliate competition. Placed first place in our class, but also won the best in general effects. So thank you, or not thank you, but congratulations to our marching band. They work very hard. They're up there all the time practicing. So it's great to see that you're able to come away with this recognition. So.
And if you're interested in seeing them perform, not only as football games, but Gateway will be hosting the PIMBA, which is a local competition circuit. The championships are here on October 26th.
Make sure we get that out. Okay, Dennis?
We're also extremely proud, we had some visitors from the state and the National Organization, the Education Association at Gateway High School recently to learn more about the Teacher Academy that's facilitated by Mr. Spinola. A lot of great things it was amazing to see some of our students talk about the mentorship and some of the great resources that they've gained through Mr. Spinola and how appreciative they are. And it was just really great to hear some of the other comments around the program that's taking place up there at the high school. And just a reminder for the October Parent Series, October 16th, 6 to 7 at Monroeville Public Library. That's it.
All right, thank you. Board committee reports. Let's start with you, Cheryl.
Can I go last? Because John's here. John, can Donna go do her thing first?
Yeah, sure. We had a finance committee meeting on September 11th. We had Lee, I don't want to say, how do you say his last name properly?
Deliker.
Thank you, Deliker, from Weisberger Kramer here. Talked again about the common level ratio and the impact of that on our tax base. That's made for an assessment back to the or an appreciation offset back to the 2012 county assessment. And it does assume that residential commercial properties are appreciating at the same rate, which is where, if you listen to the budget conversations, that's what really throws off our budget numbers when people actually get more of a discount on their, or a reduction in their taxes based on that offset. The good news he did say is that in 2025, it's only dropping to 52.7% from 54.2%. A couple of years ago, it's had more significant drop. So the CLR is not changing radically coming up. I think the other thing that was interesting you talked about for those who weren't there is that the real estate appeal date is changing. So we now have to appeal October 1st. But I know we've always struggled in budget time because we don't know how all those appeals come. They come in March and they aren't really resolved. So when we try to plan what the income is, we don't really know. By moving it to October, most of those should be resolved before we actually get through the budget process. So it'll give us a little bit more clarity to know for sure what income will be. And then it was in the board docs, there was some information about some larger parcels and some questions and some ongoing litigation. So we'll just leave that, but you guys have the information in the board docs.
If we could just get the state to approve their budget a lot sooner.
Well, that would be, you're not going to see that happen. I think we should just be happy on June 30th.
Be in good shape.
All right, thank you. Dr. Singh, do you have anything? Any other for the committee? Any other committee reports? All right.
I'll do the buildings.
You have one?
Go ahead.
It's very short. We had a negotiation meeting at the beginning of this month with the teachers, and we have another one this week. And the lines of communication are open. Everybody is really happy about how
It's moving along.
it's moving along. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, buildings and grounds. Thank you for showing up. How did you know? ESP. We had a meeting, and it's very extensive. I'm not going to go through all these items, but we're having on the 16th, September 16th, we had a very extensive meeting. Lots going on. John's on top of a lot of stuff that we've been hoping for a long time. The next meeting, I'm saying this because you can review this and come on Wednesday, October 9th at 6 p.m. here in the boardroom, and we will go through all of this again to see where we're at. Luke Cochran, who is John's assistant, came in and introduced himself. He's training with John through October, correct? And then he will be, at that point, he will go on to the night shift after he's done training with you. If he's ready to move on, that's going to be John's discretion to determine that. Okay, we went by schools. I listed it real quick. Yes, we looked at the dance studio. We actually got to look at the dance studio when we did the tour of the high school last week. John's on top of that. The flooring, they're working on it. We did see it when we went on the tour. It looks pretty bad. Well, you want to tell us where you're at, because you were working on it with the dance studio, because that's been a topic of
I spoke with
discussion.
Tony, the contractor, today, actually earlier today, and he's at the point where what he needs to finish that to the base floor, everything's starting to come in. We need to get 7 ton of gravel in there. So today we came up and we were looking at how we're going to do that without disrupting the whole campus. So we're looking at that, which I'll update at the next meeting, how we're going to get that done.
In that hole.
And in the hole. Yeah, we have to have a solid base. I also have Mealy coming in, who does our drains and sewers, and they did the project out there when we had the sewer problem. The water is coming in from the courtyard. Actually, right by the doors where you walk out from the hallway by the auditorium into that courtyard. The water is draining down through there and getting into the dance studio. The last few rains, we haven't got water, which even makes me more nervous because we don't know where the water is going. So I'll be out for professional development the next 2 days, but at the end of the week, we're going to meet and we're going to actually try and find out where that water is going. We do have drain lines coming off the roof at that point at different places. We're going to see what it's going to take to put a storm sewer in on that courtyard and actually divert that water into the storm sewer system. So that is all working. Then once we do that and get the floor built up to the base floor, then before next summer, we'll look at getting the actual wood floor put down on the dance studio. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves and plan to do that if we're not ready to do it yet. It's not that big of a section of floor. It shouldn't take that long to get it done once we decide, get pricing, and get that approved. But that's what we're working at.
Stay right there, don't move. I talked to Jack, about forbs you're talking about courtyards, that came up when we were touring. And at some point, they have kids over there that do landscaping, as you're probably aware, and maybe somehow when it comes to the courtyards and reconfiguring, because we talked about that, you're going to find out, Jack. Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. What if we can use them at all?
Okay.
Save some money. Real fast, yes, the pool heater needs to be replaced.
The pool heater is ordered. It's going to be delivered at some point this week. They had it in stock. It was supposed to come into the distributor on Friday. As of this morning, when I left a message with the distributor, it did not come Friday, but they were saying it's supposed to be there first thing today. As soon as they get it, they'll bring it to us, and then we'll do the installation.
Okay, good. The bollards at Ramsey, are they up and?
They're not in place yet. We
have
got
them.
a little bombard last week.
Yes.
But they are on the radar.
You can tell from this list, the board, there's 2 pages of all the projects that are going on. Dr. Rossi, you had mentioned some of these, if you look, there's a possible grant. And you were talking about possibly finding out last week if we got one of those grants, because we were looking at them for roofing. Did you find out anything about those?
It was postponed, so it was supposed to be on the 17th, and we got an email on the 17th saying that the meeting was canceled, and they don't know when their next meeting is going to be. They were hoping for October, but there's no guarantee.
Something about.
And I think that's something the public needs to understand. Sometimes we try to find money from other sources, like the state, and as we talk about their budgets, as Robin said, you never can count on them because we apply for the grant, sitting here hoping we get it, and if you have a leaky roof, at some point, how long are we going to sit there and wait for the state to decide what they're going to do about the grants? So just so the public understands, we're trying to find other sources of monies, but sometimes that doesn't work as well as we hope. Also, too, we were talking about potential grant for the elevator. That's what I wanted to say. The elevator, you were saying something about going out at University Park, going out for bid in October. That's been a long-standing.
Right, we're looking, we can't do the project till summer. They didn't finish up the drawings till mid-August. To send a bid out too early, it's going to change and there'll be change orders. And that's just an acceptable fact. So we're waiting till October so this way they can anticipate on any year-end increases. And it's something we can hold them to once it's approved to start that, the day after school's out. And that's why I want to get the bids in early so that in January we can get this all approved, any summer projects we're doing. So June 6th, I think, is the first day that we have no students and teachers. I think it's June 6th, whatever day that is, we can have them mobilizing and get these crews in here to get them going.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, a lot of these projects you can't do. I mean, you can't do a roof when the kids are in school, obviously. And just so I let them know that we're thinking about them, Cleveland Stewart and their leaky window. You were explaining what has to be done with that as far as figuring out, this has been an ongoing issue with that, with the window, as to where that's coming from. I mean, you explained it really well to us, but that's more than just changing the window. You have to figure out what the problem is.
Just to give you an update on it, the water is actually running the beam. So we don't know where it's coming at. There's a support beam that runs along the tops of those windows, and the water is running the beam, and that where it's coming in is the library. We had this problem in one of my other districts, and we actually had to have the company come in and remove the block and brick along the beam to actually find the source of where the water is coming from, because the way it's butted up against the wall, you can't actually see where the water is traveling. Then once they do that, then we can find out where it's coming in and eliminate that problem. But it's a little bit costly to have that done, and it's definitely not a project you can do when the kids are in school.
A lot of these projects that you were talking about can't be done when the kids are in school.
Cheryl, these are projects, especially the ones I'm looking at Cleveland Stewart, these have occurred over the last 2 to 3 years.
Right, and we're aware of that, and that's why we have to make it, when we talk about monies, we've got to prioritize, but we also realize some of these have been kicked down the road for so long that it gets to the point, how long are you going to do that?
Right.
And that's why I encourage everybody, because there's so many items on here, and I'm not going to go through each of them, that meeting Wednesday, October 9th at 6 p.m. will go more in depth, and John will have more information about this stuff. And I'll give you mine.
So how are they prioritized?
Well, he's got to do, first of all, what can you do during the course of a school year? Now, if you have a hot water tank that's leaking like at Cleveland Stewart, and I believe we have another hot water tank somewhere else, University Park.
It's already been replaced.
You've already done it since we
Correct.
talked. So he's already done some of that since we talked. So those things you can do when the kids are in school. But if you're going to reconfigure, like, you're going to put an elevator into University Park, you're probably going to, how are you going to do that?
Right. Well, how I determine what
Explain
order
to
we do things in is anything that's going to directly affect the kids on a daily basis has to be done, even if we do a second shift. If it directly affects what the leaking ceilings in a classroom, anything that has to do with lighting problems in classrooms, that's our first priority. Anything that's going to make that environment for teaching and learning unsafe or just unable to do it. So that's our first priority. Then safety's right there with that. That's also a priority. When we have doors that get broken and we have glass that gets broken, and this happens on a regular basis. Locks get broken out, or the kids twist the doors and they don't close right. I mean, it happens every day. So those are really our biggest priorities. And then when we start to get into projects, we look at what can and we can't do with the kids in the buildings. Because we have traffic coming in, especially in the elementaries. We have the drop-offs in the morning, we have the kindergarten pickup in the middle of the afternoon, and then we have student pickup. So whatever we do will affect that. And we have to look at that as to how we're going to schedule our projects around, the students' learning, because that's the reason we're here, is to make sure that they're learning, but we want to give them a safe environment at the same time. And there are a lot of items on that list, and there's a lot of items we've talked about individually or together, and they've been here for years. We are working on the biggest ones first and trying to work our way in to get them, but there is a money factor to it. And I go to Mike all the time. I think I bother him too much. Do we have money to do this, or what do you think about that? Or I'm sending him emails and bids and the different things that come up. But we're trying to do it, but we have to still stay within the limits of the budget.
And I'm sorry.
Just real quick, you kind of mentioned this, but you skipped to the elevator. We are applying for a grant, a PCCD grant for the lobby at University Park.
Yes, yeah. And that would be a project. They're going to reconfigure. I didn't get into all of them. They're going to reconfigure the front entrance. There's a lot of other, when you talk about safety, security, there's a lot of other configurations. I know you're applying for that because that's going to be a huge job. They're going to totally reconfigure the front of that building. So again, that would be a summer project. But again, we're stuck, we're waiting for grant money. And, you know, when we do it or how we do it is based on when we get the money, and hopefully the state sticks with their schedule, so we know what they're doing. But John, thank you, and as I said, if you want to know more, please come to that meeting in October. We'll go through this whole routine, maybe by then you'll have more stuff completed. We can cross off the list. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
To add to her list, the sewer in front of UP,
Yes.
the,
We did talk about that sewer as part of the list.
We did.
The problem we're having with it draining is, and I haven't had it cameraed yet because Monroe doesn't have a camera with there, so I'm gonna have Mealy do it. We think the sewer collapsed. Okay, well, the sewer runs under the building. So if that's the case, then we need to dig around the building to get the sewer back into the storm sewer system. It is draining, and it takes, after a heavy rain, it takes about 30 minutes for it all to dissipate down through the sewer. We are going to have that looked at. We have one out here in the parking lot over here, and we have the front of CSC that drains slow also. We're getting all three of them cameraed, and we'll see what's going on and jet it. If we can jet them and clear them out, that's the obviously most cost-effective way. But I'm being told, and I don't know this for a fact yet, that the one over at UP has collapsed. So we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
That would be a massive project if it's totally collapsed and you have to.
It's not a massive project, it's a mess. I mean, it's not gonna be cheap by any means, but, you know, instead of going straight under the school, we have to keep our elevations of drop and go around the building and then make sure we drop what's in the back parking lot to hit what's going down over the hill. So it's gonna be a lot of digging, you know, and that's the issue. You know, because we're gonna close up 2 driveways, you know, which is really going to limit the parking lot access there. So we have to be smart about how and when we do it.
We do. Right.
another question with the courtyards that you're talking about at the high school, there's the National Honor Society courtyard. If that could be looked at as far as cleaning out and everything, I know the kids have asked me because I work with them every Thursday, if something could be done with that. To make
I have to have a contractor come in because they want all the concrete in that courtyard removed. And because it's locked in the building, 1, it can't be done during school, and 2, it's going to be very expensive.
No, we'll talk to Mr. Stevens about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we talked about
we-
other options about doing those courtyards, and that's one of the things Jack was gonna find out if some of it just looks like it's overgrown in some of those courtyards. They just need to rip that stuff out. So if there's a cheaper way to do some of this, because it's not like a roof or a hot water tank or any of those things, if there's another way, and Jack can let us know if what he finds out from forms.
And can we look at one other thing? Coming out of Gateway Middle School, the trees to the left, when you're coming down across from Getco. Bus drivers, well, I should say a bus driver has asked me several times about, is there a way they can eliminate those trees because they can't see when they're coming out, the cars coming up?
We've eliminated them. Monroeville has even come in and cut back. It's the hillside now that's in the way. So in order to alleviate that, we're probably going to have to dig out the hillside and build a retaining wall to hold that up so you have a clean site down the road. And that's our property, so we're going to be responsible for it. There's nothing really else we can do without removing the dirt. If we remove the dirt, we don't want to collapse the parking lot, so we're going to have to build a retaining wall.
I just wanted to bring it up, so
And can I just ask any of the board members, if you have anything that someone has brought to you, if we can put it on Dr. Rossi's plate right away so it can be addressed instead of us making it be known to him right here on the spot. He doesn't even have an opportunity to address that and get it taken care of. So then you can go back and tell the bus driver, guess what? We got it taken care of before we wait until a meeting to do that. I think it's only fair to give him an opportunity to know what's coming and to be able to address it. Now, if he doesn't address it, then we move from there. But I want to give you the opportunity to address those things when we hear these things happen.
that's good.
And we realize that those of you that work can't be with us when we do some of these walkthroughs, but sometimes when we were walking through, like at the high school, we got to really see. I'd not seen the dance studio before and what it looked like. So we get a chance to see some things that we talk about it in theory, but we actually physically get to see it, which is the courtyard. We physically got to see that stuff. So that's another opportunity for us to prioritize.
All right, so there's a couple of people. I see Coach Hall. Do you have anything for us?
Hey there. I just have, we had senior day for girls tennis today. A couple of young ladies, Selma Mukhtar and Jacqueline Liu, seniors. They celebrated that senior day with a nice, party afterwards after they defeated Connellsville in the match. So senior day for them. And as I put in the report, we just had senior night for our boys soccer team the other night as well. It is kind of that time of year. And, again, fall sports in full swing, and that's about where we're at.
All right, thank you. Micah, do you have anything?
Nothing for me, thank you.
Okay. John?
Yep. Hey, Robin, I have three things. I'm attending the HL7 International Working Group meeting in Atlanta this week. That's the group that internationally helps develop healthcare standards, and so I'm always the one that raises the healthcare concerns for the school kids. So I get to do that later on this week. Number two, we've got a homecoming football game coming up in about 2 weeks. That's the October 4th game, a home game at 7 p.m. against Penn Trafford. We're going to take some time before that to honor Tom LaBeouf for his 50 years as a coach. The board recently named the track the Tom LaBeouf track. So if anybody knows of any past track athletes or cross-country members or some past students of Mr. LaBeouf, invite them to either attend that football game and give a round of applause to Tom LaBeouf, or send an email greeting to Mr. LaBeouf to thank him for his long and wonderful service to the students. And number three, the Monroeville Convention Center was purchased by the Borough of Monroeville recently. So I was scratching my head and wondering, are there ways that the district or the borough can jointly benefit from this new arrangement? So some of the things I thought of and some others thought of was perhaps use it as a job fair site for Gateway and the surrounding districts, because we have so many needs that we have regarding teachers and bus drivers and cafeteria workers and everything else. So it's not just Gateway, it's many school districts. So if we could use that site as a job fair and come away with some job hires, that would be one terrific use of it. Another good use might be specific invitational programs. For example, I'm just thinking that the robotics club, didn't they fly to Texas? Well, why don't we do something here at the convention center and invite various education-related student clubs to come here to Monroeville and spend their money and see who we are. And another one would be a special school-related seminars or trainings or summits. For example, the Pennsylvania School Board Association, we could invite them to come out here rather than us go out to Harrisburg. Maybe the athletic trainers do some annual training, or school nurses do some training. So our professionals could benefit by having the Monroeville Convention Center be used on their behalf, which would also benefit the school district and the other surrounding school districts. So if anybody on the board has any ideas, let's think this through. If we come up with a couple good ones, perhaps we could meet with the Monroeville Council and bounce it off them and see if any of it seems to make some sense. So that's all I got, Robin.
All right, thank you. All right, anyone else? Okay, well, we need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, all in favor?